How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and in today's video I want to talk to you guys about the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. So in this video I'm going to go over the facts about the Wrangler 392, talk about my opinion about the Jeep, and then also talk about where I think it's going to go in the future, and maybe also compared to the brand new Ford Bronco Raptor. So let's go ahead and get started. So it seems like Dodge and Jeep has been going pretty crazy with their vehicles these past few years before they decide to discontinue the Hemi V8 after 2023. So, you know, I do think it's awesome that they're coming out with all these new vehicles. I do also think that it's unfortunate that they're going to be getting rid of the Hemi V8 after 2023. So as you guys know, they stuffed the Hellcat engine into a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and now we have the 392 6.4 liter V8 in the Wrangler, which I think is awesome. Unfortunately, they did not put the Hellcat in the Wrangler, but you know, it's still a 6.4 liter V8 Hemi. So actually a 6.4 liter 392 Hemi V8, which has 470 horsepower. There are a few aftermarket companies that have been doing V8 swaps in Wranglers for a while now. We've never actually been able to get a factory V8 in a modern Jeep Wrangler. So the last time that Jeep actually put a V8 in a Wrangler was actually in the 1970s with the Jeep CJ, and that made about 150 horsepower, which, you know, if you compare it to the 392 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon JL, you know, it's a huge improvement. So with the Jeep 392 Wrangler, you know, like I said, it's a 392, so 6.4 liter V8. It makes around 470 horsepower, which if you compare it to the Dodge Challenger Scat Pack 392, that car makes 485 horsepower stock. So it is a little bit of a downgrade from that 392 and the Challenger. So about, you know, 15 horsepower less than the Challenger 392. Starts just under $80,000, which, you know, it's insane for a Jeep, but you know, it has a 392 V8, so people are definitely going to be buying it for way more than $80,000 after markups and inflation and everything like that. The main reason that Jeep has been pretty hesitant to put a V8 in the Wrangler was mainly because of fuel economy and emissions regulations, and those regulations are also the reason for discontinuing the Hemi V8 after 2023, unfortunately. Of course, another reason for producing this Jeep 392 was competition from the Bronco. Now, you know, the Bronco is not a V8 at all, and it has the EcoBoost, either the, I believe it's the 2.7 or the 2.3, and now with the Bronco Raptor you have the 3 liter EcoBoost. So, you know, Jeep is already winning by putting the V8 392 in the Jeep Wrangler. Some minor things about the 392 Jeep is that the hood scoop is actually functional, so it does help to provide air into the engine and, you know, cool it down that way a little bit better. It also does have exhaust valves with 2 modes, I believe, so you can either make it quiet or make it loud when you actually want people to hear that you have a 392 under your Jeep's hood, which I think is awesome. Once again, 392 also has upgraded brakes when you compare it to the standard Wrangler Rubicon. Of course, obviously having a 392, it's going to be a little bit heavier than the standard Wrangler. It also has a stronger frame to prevent it from bending, you know, which also makes it good for high-speed off-roading and doing things that Street Speed 717 would like to do, which is, you know, jumping it over other cars. But of course, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Something else interesting about the Wrangler 392 is that it's only offered in a 4-door model, so you can't actually get a 2-door, which might be a good thing because with the 2-door you might be just doing constant wheelies if you actually try to launch it off the line. The thing that I like about the 392 Wrangler is that it also does have quad exhaust tips, which that is a unique feature to the 392 Wrangler. You can't actually get those quad exhaust tips on a standard Wrangler Rubicon or any other trims that are not the V8 392. Of course, you can get aftermarket catback systems that have quad tips, but the 392 comes standard with quad tips. Something that I thought was pretty interesting about the Wrangler 392 was that you actually don't have an option to drive in 2-wheel drive. So it's 4-wheel drive all the time, no matter what mode you're in. So the different drive modes that you have are 4-wheel drive automatic, 4-wheel drive part-time, or 4-wheel drive low. So you can't really do burnouts in that thing unless you want to tie it up to something and do a 4-wheel drive burnout, or you can just remove the front drive shaft and do a burnout that way. It also does have Dana 44 axles, something that carried over from the Rubicon to the Rubicon 392. Is that it also does have front and rear diff lockers, and that's standard as part of the Rubicon trim package. What's crazy about this thing is that it actually goes from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and does the quarter mile in 12.9 seconds. Now if you compare that to the Challenger Scat Pack, that thing is supposed to do it in 4.2 seconds. So you literally have a Jeep Wrangler that was tested to go 0 to 60 faster than a Challenger Scat Pack. So just let that sink in right there. I think that's pretty insane that a Jeep Wrangler can do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and the quarter mile in 12.9 seconds. I just think it's insane that it can go that fast. Now the quarter mile, it does do that at 104 miles per hour, but you can't actually go much faster than that because it is limited to 112 miles an hour. That top speed is limited because of the 35-inch BF Goodrich tires that just aren't made to go that fast. Now those tires are part of the Xtreme Recon package, which I will go over later on in the video. Standard tire size for the Jeep Wrangler 392 is 33 inches. 392 Jeep does also have a stronger frame. It also does have a 2-inch suspension lift Fox dampers. And one thing that I really like about the Jeep Wrangler 392 is the Xtreme Recon package, which is a $4,000 package that you can add on to your 392. The Xtreme Recon package also adds another 1.5 inches of lift, along with the bigger tires, those 35-inch tires that I mentioned before. With that, you also do have extended fender flares to actually cover up those tires. Something else that is really cool and very useful for off-roading is that the Wrangler 392 does have the 17-inch wheels, which are capable of having a beadlock ring, so you can actually, secure the tire to the wheel. The one thing that's pretty common with off-roading is airing down your tires or reducing the PSI in your tires, and that's basically to make the surface area of your tire bigger and to have more traction that way. So it's pretty common to do that if you're driving on maybe sand or snow or any kind of off-road conditions. But when you do that, you do also have the risk of your tire separating from the wheel just because it's so loose on the wheel. So you do have that risk, and having beadlock wheels actually minimizes that risk by securing the tire to the wheel. So I do think that it's really cool that this Jeep actually does come stock with those 17-inch wheels, which are capable of having those beadlock rims to actually secure the tires to the wheel. The 2021 launch edition actually started around $75,000. And the Xtreme Recon package is $4,000 added onto that. If you compare that to some of the other prices of the other trim levels of the Wrangler, we can look at the brand new plug-in hybrid Wrangler, which also makes 470 pound-feet of torque, and it's also eligible for a $7,500 federal tax credit. It actually costs a little bit over $50,000. Now that we got all that out of the way, I wanted to give you guys some of my opinions on the Wrangler 392 and also talk about what I think is going to happen in the future with these Jeeps. So basically the 392 Wrangler is my new dream car. I saw one driving down the road and I immediately started researching it and, saw that it was like $80,000, which is pretty expensive for a Jeep, but people are definitely going to be buying those things because having a 392 6.4 liter V8 in a Jeep Wrangler, that's like what everybody has wanted, I think. So they definitely are going to be selling, and I definitely do want to get one. Like I said, it's my new dream car now, and I would definitely like to have one. Even though it pretty much makes no sense to have a V8 in a Wrangler, if you're going to be going off-roading, you really don't need to have a V8 or, 470 horsepower. I think the regular 3.6 liter V6 that they had is plenty for a Jeep Wrangler. Of course, Jeep Wranglers were not made for racing or anything like that. So a 6.4 liter V8 really isn't needed in the Jeep Wrangler at all. But, why not, I guess. So it definitely would be insane to have one, and I definitely would love to have one. And comparing it to the Bronco, I do like the looks of the Jeep Wrangler a lot better. I just think it looks a lot more mean, a lot more like a tank, and a lot bigger. Having such a large vehicle for off-roading isn't really a good thing. When you compare it to the Bronco to me does look a little bit smaller than the Wrangler 392. For off-roading, for the most part, you do want to have a smaller vehicle for off-roading because it can, fit in more tighter trails in between trees, and it's just more nimble that way. And it's probably also going to be lighter as well, which is an advantage for off-roading too. Jeep Wrangler 392 being so large isn't really an advantage for off-roading, but I do think that it makes it look better, makes it look more like a tank, more mean, and that's just what I love about that brand new Jeep Wrangler 392. I feel like the Bronco is more, it kind of looks more tame than the Jeep. It has more rounded edges, where the Jeep Wrangler is just more, straight, and, it has those sharp edges like you would expect the Jeep to have. That's just what I like more about the Jeep when you compare it to the Bronco. Now, don't get me wrong, the Bronco Raptor is definitely going to be a very great vehicle for off-roading. Of course, they both do have front and rear diff lockers, sway bar disconnect, all that fun stuff. Now, the Bronco Raptor actually does come with 37-inch tires, and with the Jeep Wrangler 392, you do have to pay that extra $4,000 for the Xtreme Recon package to only get 35-inch tires. Standard on the 392, like I said, you do get 33-inch tires, so you do get more with the Bronco but you also don't get a V8 with the Bronco. Now that's the whole reason for getting the Wrangler 392 is because of that V8. And you know, it makes no sense to actually get a V8 in a Wrangler, but once again, why not? If you can, then you know, it's just awesome to have a V8 in a Jeep, in my opinion. Now, as for the future of the Jeep Wrangler 392, I do think that the value and price of those Jeeps will skyrocket, just like with most cars these days, but especially with the 392 model, because we are expecting it to be the highest trim level of the Jeep Wrangler because it is the, you know, 392 V8. So I'm expecting it to be the highest trim level of the Jeep that they will ever make. A Hemi V8 is going to be discontinued after the year 2023. So having a Jeep Wrangler with a Hemi V8, I think it's going to be, you know, a great investment, and it's definitely going to be skyrocketing in value. So, you know, even though vehicles traditionally have not been good investments, I think the Jeep Wrangler 392 will be a great investment. Now, even if you look at my Jeep Cherokee X-Ray that I'm in right now, I got this thing for around $3,500, and you know, I think it's a great investment because I think right now I could sell it for around $15,000 to $20,000. Now, if you look at a more modern vehicle like the C7 Corvette ZR1, that is the most desirable version of the C7 generation. And it was the one before the C8, of course. So whenever the Corvette went into a mid-engine vehicle, you know, the previous generations before that switch are going to be going up in value, especially the highest trim level of the ZR1. So if we look at that as an example, then we know that, you know, brand new, those things sold around 120 to 140,000, and now they're selling for 250,000. And I think the same exact thing is going to be happening with the Broncos as well as the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392s. But I think it's going to be happening more with the 392 because of the fact that it's a V8, and those Hemi V8s are going to be going away after 2023. I do think that they are going to be skyrocketing in value more than the Bronco, in my opinion. So once again, I do think that the Jeep Wrangler 392 is a great vehicle for anybody to buy, even if you're not going to be off-roading it and just holding it as an investment. I do think that is a great idea for, you know, the times we live in right now. Obviously, $80,000 for a Jeep is very expensive, but I do think that it will continue to keep going up. Definitely like the Jeep Wrangler 392. I would love to have one. I would love to, you know, test one out off-road and just have fun with it. And I also am a bigger fan of the Jeep Wrangler 392 over the Ford Bronco Raptor. With that being said, I'm not saying that the Bronco is a bad vehicle in any way. I'm just a bigger fan of the Jeep Wrangler having that V8 in it over the EcoBoost V6. So if I missed anything in this video, or if you guys want to add anything, definitely drop those down in the comment section below. If you guys have any questions, also drop those down in the comment section. And if you guys have any video suggestions for videos you would like to see in the future, also drop those down in the comment section below. And if you guys liked this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.